if it's Monday, you know I'm hating on Neil Strauss. War on the Game, Part 3. One of the only times I can think of that Neil actually lied directly to my face. But no doubt one of 7 million times a day Neil lies to someone's face like it's cool. I am John Sin, the leader of the War on the Game, and Neil Strauss. And fuck Neil Strauss. Let's get started. Today's a pretty short video. My only real point in today's video is that Neil Strauss is a liar, and that he lies for no real good reason. I fully admit that I sometimes lie, to not hurt people's feelings or to smooth over a situation that I don't want to deal with. But usually there's a reason. In this situation, there wasn't really any reason to lie to me directly to my face while looking at me like it's cool. So let's hop back in our time machine and head to New York City. It was a few years ago. It might have been 2006. I don't even know. It was before Neil announced the Annihilation Method, which was this horrible product that he came out with that was just rehashed mystery method. So it might have been 2006. It definitely wasn't 2007 because I'd already moved. I think it was like September, so it was probably like 2006. I was still living in LA because I had met Captain Jack and I didn't move to Dallas to learn from him until I think middle of 2007, something like that. Who knows? But let's get in the time machine and go back. So I'm in town on a boot camp, and like I said, this would be the weekend I met Captain Jack, who was actually with me, along with a guy named Vision, and a guy who went by the name Masters. And on Thursday night, we ended up getting into New York and going out to just have some drinks. I wanted to show them the Gansevoort, which is right across the street from where this restaurant Pastis was. I don't know if it's still there. I haven't been to the meatpacking in years. But Thursday night, we end up at Pastis in the meatpacking district to grab food, I think, when who should be there but the midget king of the sixes himself, one Neil Strauss. I try to avoid him. I'm like, we should leave, but he looks over and waves us over to his table, and I'm like, okay. I'm trying to be polite because at the time there was a lot of beef with different instructors, and it was very, very political, so I didn't want to be rude to the guy's face, even though at this time I didn't have the highest opinion of him. Like I said, I've already seen what a scumbag he was. I didn't really dislike him, I just thought he was fake. So, I had heard rumblings around the interweb that Neil was getting ready to either release a product or start a company, something like that, and I went out of my way to say, I've heard some rumblings, I think that'd be cool, because if anyone should have been making money, it was Neil based on the success of the game. I know personally that a lot of boot camp students when I was with the Mystery Method came from reading that book. So I didn't really have a problem with him making money and explained that and gave him the chance to just be like, yeah, I'm doing something, it's going to be cool. That, literally just making conversation, not trying to pump him for information or anything like that, just trying to keep it civil. And this is when, for some reason, he decides to lie right to my face, which is one of the weirdest decisions ever, because, as I said, I was being supportive. He goes, no, man, I'm really enjoying being out of the community, and I don't want to ever make money off of it, ever. I just think, I'm an outsider, which is part of the story he tells people to try to make it seem like he's not as big of a loser. That's why he tells people he was a journalist and that he got into this because he was researching, when really he got into it because he wanted to get laid more and because he's a sociopath and saw some opportunities for manipulation and game playing. So for some reason he did this, and I really struggled to understand what the point was when the very next day he started his launch sequence for this Annihilation product, and it finally hit me probably about a week later what the point was. That's right. There was no point other than Neil is a pathological liar, other than the fact that he just lies for fun because he thinks influence and persuasion and all of these tactics that we learn to, get better with girls are just fun things to do to people because he's a weird sociopath. The next day, literally the next day, it was literally a Friday, Neil started a marketing campaign with other noted scumbag, Fatty Cat or Thundercat or Matthew Kadish, Kadish, to sell a $4,000 program. Let me reiterate that, a $4,000 video course called the Annihilation Method, which, as you can see on the side here, was designed to annihilate any issues. And it was, I watched it, and it was Rehashed Mystery Method for $4,000, when at the time I think a Mystery Method boot camp with mystery was $3,000. So for an extra like $1,700, you could not get a boot camp and get to watch Neil work with these losers who didn't become good with girls. And that basically concludes this week's lesson of why Neil Strauss is a scumbag. I'll be back next Monday when I reveal one of many of Neil Strauss's seduction failures that I have intimate knowledge of. Stay tuned. Fuck Neil.